Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Artin, I make beats and sound design videos, and today we are going to talk about the difference between the OPXY and the OP1 field, and which one might be right for you. In this video, I'll break down how each machine works, what the main differences are between the workflows, and which machine might work best for you depending on what you're trying to do. Keep in mind, this isn't a full in-depth tutorial of how these machines work and every single feature that exists within them, but if you do have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to answer. Starting with the OPXY, the entire workflow is based around this 16-step sequencer, which you can extend up to 4 bars or 64 steps. And if you mess with the track scaling, which basically turns these 16th notes into eighth notes or quarter notes, you get a lot more bars. It's super simple to program beats on this machine. You just pick a note on whatever instrument you're on, you add it to the step sequencer, and then you can just play it back. You can step sequence up to 8 different instruments, and you can choose from a number of synthesizers, a number of samplers. You can even sequence external gear if you'd like to. For everything you sequence on one of these tracks, they are saved into a scene. A group of scene across all of your tracks gets stored in a pattern. If you open up song mode by holding shift and pressing this button, you can arrange your patterns into a song. So again, entire workflow is based around this step sequencer, and what you're doing is programming beats for the most part. You can live record as well, don't get me wrong, but where this thing really shines is the step sequencer. The OP1 field, on the other hand, is based all around recording stuff to audio. You get 4 different audio tracks that you can infinitely overdub, meaning we can record a note on this first track, then record a second note if we want, and do that ad infinitum, and it will play back all of the notes that we record. This workflow doesn't have any undo button. Everything needs to be committed to audio if you want to save it. There's not a great way to arrange your songs. Basically, what you have to do is record every single part of your song into these different audio tracks. You'll have to do multiple takes for the most part. If you want to record, your drums without the hi-hats, and then a version with the hi-hats, and then maybe you add cool little snare for, the chorus that isn't in any other part. It's not all bad news though, because you do get access to different players. This one is called Finger, and you can use it to step sequence drums and then play them back. This is where you can program a few different types of drums. One maybe you would play during your intro, another you would play during your chorus, another during the A section. And that way you won't necessarily have to, re-perform all of your drums. You can step sequence them and then play them back when you need it. The workflow on the OP1, in my opinion, is a lot slower. It's a lot more difficult to make full songs with it because you're having to work strictly with audio. There's no way to step sequence stuff onto multiple different tracks and then save them into scenes, organize them into patterns, and then have a song mode where you order everything. Your entire song is happening directly in audio across these 4 tracks. Workflow wise, if what you care about is sketching out full songs as quickly as you can, you enjoy programming your beats, you might not be the best player, something like the OPXY is going to be a lot more suited to that workflow. And with things like the punch-in effects, with the tape looper, with the chord brain that can transpose your chords into different keys, the OPXY gives you a lot more flexibility to sketch out songs and to do it much faster than you would on the OP1 field. On the other hand, if you like a more analog workflow, if you don't mind performing stuff multiple times, I do think the OP1 field, technically with its infinite overdubbing, can let you add many more layers than you would ever be able to add on the OPXY. At the same time, I personally think the OP1 field is more suited for experimentation and sound design, and that's because you have these 9 wonderful insert effects. You can't use all 9 of them at the same time on a single track, but what you can do is put it on a synth, record a one shot into the tape, then you can technically go back and swap this out for another effect, like let's say reverb, record that onto a second track, then lift both of your recordings and drop it into a sampler. You can understand with this way of sampling and resampling different synth shots with different effect combinations all into audio and then dropping that into a sampler, you can get a lot more intricate with your sound design, even though you're limited to one insert effect. To recap, if you're trying to sketch out songs quickly, you prefer a step sequencer workflow, you like programming your beats, the OPXY is going to be your best friend. On the OP1 Field, the workflow is all audio based, a lot less forgiving, no undo button. If you don't like something in your recording, you're going to have to re-record it, all right? And to get a full song out of the OP1 Field requires a lot more time investment, in my experience, than on the OPXY. So I hope that was helpful. If you enjoyed this, I'd really appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Also, if I didn't cover anything you wanted to know more about, drop a question in the comments and I'll answer it. See you in the next one.